Question: which one do you prefer, reading a book or watching a movie? That's a really interesting question. To be honest, I think movies and books are two completely different forms of art. They are both very, equally fantastic, but in different ways. So it's really unfair. It's hard to compare the two of them. Movies are something that are very visual, with all the visual effects, with the sound effects. You can definitely see the story come to life in front of you, right? It's really exciting, it's really vivid, so it's really attractive in that way. And at the same time, because movies are definitely shorter, like 2 hours top, something like that. So, they really cut out a lot of unnecessary bits. So that's why movies are more, intense, more action-packed, more fast-paced. So it's more exciting in that way. I would say it is a better choice for people who have less patience. Yeah, so, you can get to know the story within 2 hours. It's definitely a great way to, pass the time, with some popcorn and some soda drinks in your hand. It's just a great way to chill out at night. And that's it. For one night, you have this wonderful story, right? Meanwhile, a book is definitely something, I would say, totally different because, it's much, much more detail-oriented. And also, it's like, when you watch a movie, it's something relatively more passive. You're just, passively receiving the information, from the director, the producer of this movie. But when you're reading a book, you are actively imagining things. It's like you need to work with the author. You need to, let your imagination, take charge. You need to be creative. You need to let your imagination, your mind go wild. So that's why for every reader, even for the same book, they have completely different ways of, perceiving, of translating the same story, the same plot. So I would say books are something that requires more energy, more, it's more time consuming, it's more energy consuming. It's for people who are really, truly, they just read for pleasure. They are truly bookworms. They don't feel tired, they don't feel lazy for reading. It's something that's more physical. So yeah, and another thing is, I just thought about it. Books are, easier to read in the sense that you don't need any extra equipment to read a book. You just have a book, you grab a book, and then you can start reading. Of course, if you have some sight problems, you need to have prescription glasses, but you get my point, right? It's easier. You can just read a book while you are on the go. You can just grab a book and you can start reading. No big deal, right? But when it comes to a movie, if you want to really have a really good watching experience, you need to have a big screen, you need to have giant speakers, the audio system and everything. So it's definitely something, you'd have like a HD full screen, a big TV or something like that. So it's definitely, it requires more, it's a higher standard, definitely. So in that sense, it's actually easier to read a book. You see, you need to see things from different angles, different perspectives. What else? Oh yeah, and for some people, some lazy bones, it's definitely, books are definitely something for them. It's just, they're too impatient to read a book. For a bookworm, it is such a beautiful thing to spend 5 pages reading all the details of a room, a beautiful scene, and then, to go with the author to set up a whole scene. But for a person who's much, much less patient, they feel like, they are wasting their time. Why would I know, how the room looks like just because there is a conversation taking place here, right? So why would I know the background of how the room looks like? So, it's like for different people, they have different ways of seeing the same thing. So it's really hard to compare the two of them. They both have their upsides and downsides, pros and cons, and it's completely different stories in different people's eyes. So yeah.